Alejandro Garnacho cannot be starting for Manchester United. Point blank, period. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Lessons learned against Arsenal. What did we learn? Well, first and foremost, Alejandro Garnacho cannot be starting for Manchester United. Point blank, period. I obviously went ridiculously viral for giving him some advice, criticism. Some people will call it abuse and attack and whatever as such. But at the end of the day, he's not playing to the standards and levels that we need for Manchester United. He simply isn't. Neither is Marcus Rashford, neither is Mason Mount. But at the end of the day, at 20 years old, what he's done so far, he's played over 100 games for Manchester United at 20 years old. I'm sorry, but that is a lot of games. And he has not shown levels of improvement. And the people that think that he can still improve his decision making over the course of the years, I'm sorry, at this level you cannot teach decision making. And if you don't believe or like what I say, you don't have to. Ruben Amorim had said it himself that at this level I can't be teaching decision making. He said that in after his first game in charge of Manchester United. Arsenal, they were solid overall at home. On a positive, we kept similar amount of possession as them. We tried to take the game to them at times. We tried to play to our strengths. At the start of the first half, you saw there were some patterns where we were playing out from the back, using the wing back to progress the ball further. The same routines that we saw in Ruben Amorim's training videos. He was trying to do it on the pitch. So there is an identity. There is a method to the madness. And he is trying to implement his football. We see it on the pitch. But with all that being said, one of the key things that I did not like seeing, and maybe because the main three starting centre-backs were not there, is the hoofball from Andre Onana to Rasmus Højlund. That was stinky. That was unnecessary, and that just didn't do anything. We kept trying to play the ball from Maguire to Mazarawi or Maguire to De Ligt or Diogo Dalot, and eventually ended up playing the ball back to Onana because Arsenal were so good with their press. They were so intense, they were so direct, and they meant business when it came to pressing us and trying to close us from playing out from the back. So we had to go to Andre Onana, who then had to hoof the ball to Rasmus Højlund, which brings me on to Rasmus himself. I'm sorry, but Rasmus Højlund's back to goal is getting really frustrating to watch. It's really frustrating. Every time he tries to bring the ball down from the air, he looks like fish out the water. And every time he does bring the ball down, he ends up on his ass, chewing the grass every single time. His back to goal is really bad. He can't receive the ball, play someone short, and then get in the box. The only player that can do that well in that position, whether you like it or not, is actually Xerxes, because he creates separation between himself and the defender, receives the ball, and bops it really quick. He doesn't need time, whereas Rasmus almost takes a second or two too long, and the defender just tries to bully and push him off the ball, and it happens so often. It's not once, we've seen it numerous games as well. And on top of that, Ruben Amorim's come out and said it himself that in the final third, you can see yourself, there is such a big lack of ideas. He said specifically in his post-match conference, he said, you can see the structure, you can see the idea, you can see the bounce between the centre-backs and the midfield, but then you can see we need to work in the final third, we need more ideas, you can see how hard it is. And that should tell you that Alejandro Garnacho, Marcus Rashford, these players, when it comes to playing for Man United in the final third, no more. Rashford has had ample amount of time anyways in Manchester United. At this point, 10 years in, it's time to cash in on Marcus Rashford. Let's be deadly honest. I'm really sorry. Every year we find ourselves having a conversation saying, is Rashford going to be in form? Is he going to be our main man? Can he create chances? Can he create goals? It's enough. And when it comes to Alejandro Garnacho, I'm really sorry. I've seen enough. He's not going to cut it at Manchester United. He really isn't. He's going to get goals. Don't get me wrong. He will get his odd goals here and there. If he comes off the bench, he will get his odd goals. But that is not the complete player, the complete package that we need under this manager. And we're not in a business. We can't be in a business of trying to teach these players X, Y, and Z. We've won the Carabao Cup and FA Cup under Eric Ten Hag with these players. We should be building for Ruben Amorim, having players in here who are already specialists in their position. That's Manchester United anyways. We're too big of a club to be doing B-Tech lessons for young players, to be teaching them decision making in the final third or dribbling. It's not possible. Whereas Amad Diallo, on the other hand, is fantastic. That's the type of player who's shown enough level and enough quality for us to say, right, let's work with Amad, because we know what he can do. Ruben done a lot of rotations this particular game. He changed around 6 players in his starting 11, a lot because he had to, in all honesty, because of rotation. Playing the wing-back role week in, week out, twice a week for Amad Diallo, as great as he is, can be very demanding, tasking. It's very, very tiring. You've seen Ruben come out in post-match conferences say that Rasmus is dead after a game, Amad is dead after a game, they're tired, they're knackered after playing 90 minutes, 70, 80 minutes. You have to get them to build up that fitness and physicality to play 90 minutes week in, week out. Only a seasoned specialist can play that wing-back role twice a week. It is so hard. It is, the wing-back position is the most pivotal position for a system where you're playing three at the back. So he's gonna need to mold Ahmad in that wing-back position. It's more so because he trusts him. Ahmad has the ability. We know what he can do. But also because he's no other option right now. He can't do that with some of the other players that we've got. And he spoke about the rotation actually in his post-match conference. He said, it's not because I like to change all the time, but we have to have all the squad fit. You need to, disperse minutes between many players so everybody can keep in touch and sync with the football that we play. So that sentence makes perfect sense. He also says, for example, Harry Maguire has a limit. Tyrell Malacia and Mason Mount have time limits. Lenny Yoro really has a time limit. So what he's mentioning and referring to is these players can only give you that exact level of intensity that the manager requires for X amount of minutes, and that is called load management. You're not going to ask a player, or you shouldn't ask a player to give you more minutes than they are capable of, because you're going to lead them onto injury, or they'll end up making a mistake which will affect their confidence. If a player is fit enough for 30 minutes, let him play 30 minutes as hard as he can, and then thank you very much for your time. We'll work on your fitness, and that is squad management. He says we have to manage winning games in different methodology. I can't even pronounce that word. In different methodology, different way of playing, more meters to press. And tomorrow we have to assess, and the guys who have a little bit of risk to some injury will not play. We have to have everybody to work, to play, and to improve the squad. So he's got to go back with his coaching staff, his medical team, and decide which players are fit enough for the next game come weekend when we play Forest. He also specifically touches on Luke Shaw because he was supposed to play this game, but he's had a niggle, a setback, an injury during training or when he's got back home. And Ruben's touched on that as well. And it's very interesting what Ruben says. He says, since I arrived, I see him in the medical department, working a lot in the gym and working a lot on the pitch. So he's trying to come back fit. We control the load during the games and trainings. He was losing weight doing everything. If he continues that behavior, he's a top player and we need him. That is big for a manager to come out saying he was losing weight. So that means a few points. One, that he was heavier than he needed to be. Two, he wasn't fit enough because he was heavier. And three, he's clearly got a weight management issue. And someone, have defended Luke Shaw numerous times saying, look, he's a professional athlete at the highest level. I'm sure he's fit enough training at that level, let alone playing. But if a manager's coming out and having weight concerns, then that speaks volumes. I mean, Pep Guardiola has had that, for example, with Calvin Phillips as well when he signed him. And Luke Shaw, we all know, has had weight management issues. Some people have been very vocal about it. But now that the manager's come out and said it, tells you everything you need to know. And I'm not going to be disrespectful towards Luke, but at this level, you need to be maintaining and managing your weight. You really, really do. And the fact that he's not been able to do it, I'm sorry, I can't say you're a top professional. You can't be a top professional if you're struggling to maintain and manage your weight when you're making millions and millions of pounds a year. I mean, the time period that Luke Shaw's been injured, 4 seasons he has been injured. 4.5 seasons he's been injured out of the 10 years he's played in Man United. And in the 4.5 seasons, on average, we've paid him £28 million whilst he's been injured. Ruben says, no matter how long he needs, I will be with him. We will help him to return. Not just Manchester United, but your national team needs a guy like Luke. We are here to help him. Speaking about Luke, did we really miss him today? Some would say yes, but Malacia as well is looking still a little bit leggy at times. Malacia going forward is not giving you the ideas and options that we need. That bit of IQ and that crisp bit of crossing that we need from Malacia, we're not getting it. And this is something that Ruben's got to see with Ineos and say, maybe, just maybe, we might have to part ways with Malacia or turn him into an understudy, because we'll have to bring in a specialist left-sided wing-back, because Luke Shaw has to go this summer. Harry Maguire will go. And on the left-hand side will be left, very thin just by having Malacia there. And Dallo, I'm not playing on the left-hand side week in, week out, because, again, it doesn't look comfortable. So we have to go and get a specialist. Malacia can be the understudy to that specialist. Ruben speaks on Lenny Yoro, who's come back after getting injured. Funnily enough, he got injured against Arsenal when we played the friendly in pre-season, and he's just come back and he done really well for the minutes that he played. And he said you can feel it. The talent, the speed, the way he handled 1v1s in a difficult stadium after a lot of time without playing. That speaks volumes on Lenny Yoro's ability. We know Lenny Yoro's ability anyways. In terms of Arsenal, look, they played their football. They pressed us. They won the ball back loads in midfield, but they couldn't score a goal in open play. And that is shameful for Arsenal. I'm going to be deadly honest here. I'm not even trying to be shameless or nitpick or whatever. But the fact that the great super duper Mikel Arteta couldn't get his team, couldn't get Jesus, Partey and Rice and Saka and all of these players to score a goal from open play. They had to rely on corners. Corners is a part of the game. Yes, fair enough. It's fair and square goal. Cool. We have to do better defending it, and every team under the sun are finding it difficult to stop Arsenal in corner kicks. But look, the Emirates, we've got a new manager. Our style isn't fully solidified. Players are still adjusting. Players are still coming back. Players are still missing. Players playing in new positions. I thought Arsenal would have absolutely, they should have ripped us apart, but they didn't. They needed to wait till corner kicks. One of the corner kicks came because of Marcus Rashford trying to do something. He tried to flick the ball over a defender, ended up giving away a corner, literally kicking the ball at the corner, and that led to a goal. Absolutely silly decision to try and flick the ball there. Yes, I understand if it comes off your shin or something while you're trying to duel and trying to win the ball or trying to protect the ball. But if you're trying to be sneaky and trying to be clever and it doesn't pull off and that leads to a goal, it just sums up Marcus Rashford at this point. It really just sums up. And how long can we keep having these conversations about Rashford? I would have even said, okay, he went out for a throw-in. He was trying to do something skillful. But, bro, knowing that Arsenal literally going to punish you from corner kicks, you gave away the most audacious, just crazy, silly, stupid corner kick that you could possibly give out while trying to do a skill. It's absolutely pathetic. De Ligt had a chance as well, and unfortunately it didn't go in. We clearly need to work on our own set pieces, attacking and defending wise. It is very important. We've got some big lads in there that we can use in set pieces. Funnily enough, Arsenal, their shortest player ended up scoring the first goal, Urian Timber, and I was absolutely gobsmacked how they managed to get their crosses pinpoint every single time. All of their crosses from the corner flag are so pinpoint, and in essence, Arsenal have given other teams the blueprint on how to beat us. Other teams might play, decent football, but our defense will hold them down so they don't score from open play. But in set pieces, we are definitely lacking. We need to be defending our set pieces a lot better. There were some of them where Andre Onana tried to punch it out and it was doing ping pong in the 6-yard box. And we can't be having that. I'm really honest. We cannot be having that. We need to work more. And yes, he's only had, 48 hours or so to work with the team to prepare for this game because the games are thick and fast. And he's going to need some time to work on this with his coaching staff. The players are clearly having a lot of information fed to them. Patience is all I can say. And Ruben says on what he will improve when we play Arsenal again in the FA Cup. And he said the only thing he said we'll improve is set pieces. And that's true. That is true. He says we will succeed. We need time. De Ligt came out and had a few things to say as well, and I'm going to bring them up. And De Ligt, for me, had a good game. Should have had a goal, but unlucky. He says, we are Manchester United, so it's not enough. We know that. We work hard. We have another important game coming up to show what we learned from this game and take 3 points. As the manager said, if we stay on this path, we have a great chance of improving. That's what we're doing. It's not perfect yet. There's a lot to improve, and the players have to get used to the system. but we see some positives. We definitely see some positives. I'm not going to lie. Amad Diallo is a positive. Xerxes is a positive. Mason Mount has had some positive moments. Bruno Fernandes sitting deeper has had positive moments. The back line most definitely looks so much better. We look almost at times like so calm, but we need to work on that playing out from the back a lot more, where we're not hoofing the ball. And if Onana is passing the ball, we need to get players in areas of the pitch where they can receive the ball, because no matter how much Andre Onana shanks and kicks the ball, there are players in the front line, bar Ahmad, really, that can't bring the ball down. I mean, Garnacho's first touch, at this point, if I say anything, it's like I'm committing a crime, but you see it for yourself, people. You're literally seeing it for yourself. Delict also says there are positives, especially on the defensive side. Offensively, we must and we will improve. It's a question of automatisms. We could have hurt them more. It's the start of a process. And I agree. I very much agree. He says, disappointed to leave with no points. Also disappointed it was balanced before the first goal. The corners made a big difference today. And he's right. He is definitely right. And at the end of the day, we go again, as all the players will say. We keep our head up. It's a process. It's very unfortunate. Emirates obviously is very hard to beat. Arsenal at the Emirates is almost impossible. But come January, I hope Ruben would have taught the team a lot better to defend these set pieces and actually score a goal against Arsenal at the Emirates. And that's what I look forward to. I think the most important thing now is change his energy and shift of concentration from the team, from the midfield and defense to the front line. Alejandro Garnacho cannot be starting. I'm deadly serious. And neither should Marcus Rashford, because he's not warranted. But at the end of the day, I'd rather trust Marcus than Alejandro, because his passing, his dribbling. I mean, he flicked the ball over one of the players, and then just gave it away for a goal kick. It's not it at this level for Manchester United. Can you look at Alejandro Garnacho and say he's going to give you a 15-20 GA season in, season out? Because I can't. I really can't. He'll give you the goals off the bench, and that's where his strength is. You know, Rasmus Højlund always falling over. Bruno Fernandes absolutely silly losing the ball whenever he gets pressed. He literally looks so uncomfortable in that midfield. 3 players we definitely need to sell or part ways with or do something with. Bruno, Rashford, Garnacho. I mean, we can't go forward with these 3 in this system. We simply cannot. It's going to take time with this team, and that's all I got to say. Overall, I think we did a good job in the first half to keep it at 0-0. But in the second half, the 2 corner kick goals, one of them most definitely could have been avoided if we didn't give away a silly goal. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the game. What are the things that you learned? Are some of the points that you agree with me, or do you disagree? Like the video if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. Nottingham Forest next. We dust ourselves and we go again, man. Forest is going to be a very difficult game. Take care, people. Peace, love, and guidance. I'm out.